everyone, it's Stephanie and welcome back. In today's video, we are going to be creating some quick and easy holiday tags, and we're going to be using the new Fold-up Tags Die-namics to create them. So I don't know about you, but one of the most common things to happen to me during the holidays is that I am in a huge wrapping session. I'm wrapping a bunch of gifts and I conveniently run out of tags to address them. So I wanted to have an option to create some really quick and easy tags for those moments when I don't have a lot of time but I need tags on hand. And this new die set is perfect for that because it can create 3 different tags from the one set. So in this die set, you get a backer die, which is the full rectangle, which is going to be the back of the tag. And then you also get 3 tags that layer on top and have a score line on them so that they actually fold up and you can write a message underneath of them. So we're going to use all 3 designs with the backer tag to create 3 different tags here. And my goal was to come up with a design that I find quick and easy to recreate so that I don't have to spend a lot of time to make them. So aside from the sentiments, we're not going to be doing any stamping, and I'm going to be using the same pattern paper pad and kind of mixing and matching all of the pieces to create my tags. So the first thing I did was I die cut the backer tag from white cardstock as well as pattern paper, and I'm just going to layer the pattern paper on top just to give it a little bit more stability. I then cut out the layering tags with white cardstock, and you can see now I have 1 for each of the backers. I cut out the little top piece for the tags with the same pattern paper, but when I put them together, I'm going to kind of mix and match and use a different pattern with each of the base designs. And then I also cut out the hole reinforcement. So there is a few options for the holes. I decided to go with the regular plain one here, and I die cut that from some white cardstock, and I have all 3 of those ready to go as well. Now, depending on how many tags you want to create, you can just continually die cut all of these pieces until you have a bunch of them, and then you can assemble everything kind of assembly style. So it's really quick and easy if you do all of the die cutting first and then do all of the assembling together. Now, to add a little bit of something to each of these tags, I'm using a snowflake die from the Filled with Joy Die-namics, and I've die cut that from our new Color Celebration paper pack, which is a beautiful set of glittery papers. So now I have all of the die cutting done, I'm going to go ahead and start to assemble each of the tags. So when I was deciding on the sentiments, my original plan was to stamp them out onto black cardstock and white heat emboss them and then layer them over top. But then I remembered I'm trying to do quick and easy here, so why add that extra step? So I decided just to do the stamping directly onto the tags. Now you can kind of change these up if you want to go a little bit more detailed. You can do the embossing like I mentioned, or you can put stamped images on these instead of just the die cut snowflakes. But if it's time you're trying to save, then these are some quick options to do that. So for each of these tags, I'm going to add one of our sparkly snowflakes, and I've die cut them from similar colors to the pattern paper, so it really doesn't matter which one you put with which tag. And then I'm going to change up the design a tiny bit by changing the sentiment that I'm going to add to it. So for this one, I'm using kind of a scripty font. It's from the hand-lettered holiday stamp set. This is one of my favorite Christmas sentiment stamp sets because it has a lot of different sentiments, and I love the mix of the basic text font with the script font. So I used that one on this tag, and I'm going to layer the snowflake at the bottom. So I used some liquid glue and added it to the back of our snowflake, and I'm letting this one kind of hang off the bottom of the tag. Now I was a little bit concerned that it would be a little bit too flimsy and will kind of bend. So what I'm doing is I've die cut a second snowflake from white cardstock, and I'm going to add adhesive to that as well, and I'm going to layer it onto the back part of the tag. This is just going to give the inside of the tag a finished look, and it's also going to help reinforce that glittery snowflake so that we don't have a lot of issues with it kind of bending, since this part of the tag actually lifts up. Now once I have that part done, I can go ahead and assemble the background. So I'm adding the pattern paper directly to the cardstock. It's going to fit perfectly over top. If you want to save a step here, you don't need to do the 2 layers together. You can just die cut it from some colored cardstock, but I really wanted the pattern of the pattern paper to show through at the bottom. Once you have the back piece ready to go, it's time to add the top part of the tag on top. So for this here, I'm using some score tape along the top edge, right above that score line. And I'm using the score tape because it's a nice strong adhesive, and I don't want this to come apart from someone opening and closing the tag design. So using a strong adhesive will just ensure that the tag stays together. Now once I have that on there, I can go ahead and use liquid glue and add my little topper piece on there, and I'm just going to kind of position it in place. And then the final step to complete the tag is just to add the hole reinforcer. So I'm adding liquid glue onto that as well, and then I'm using some tweezers to place that on there so that my fingers kind of don't get in the way. And once I have that on there, our tag is complete, and we have this really cool design where we have the tag that opens, and we have all of this fun color and pattern, but it was really quick and easy to create since we did most of the die cutting ahead of time and just did some very simple stamping. Now the other two tags are going to follow the exact same process. The only thing that's going to be different is the sentiment I'm going to use and where I'm stamping it. So for this one, I decided to stamp the sentiment along the edge of the bottom of that die. And now I'm going to repeat the same steps as I did on the first tag and put everything together. So once again, I'm adding the pattern paper to the cardstock piece on the back and lining that up. I'm going to add the tag topper to the front. I did use score tape once again on the top of that. And then I'm going to finish the tag off by adding up the very top piece here as well as the whole reinforcement. And once again, I did mix and match and changed out the pattern, so I have the stripes at the bottom and then I have the colorful snowflakes at the top. And I am using the same liquid glue here that I'm using on all of the tag parts on the snowflakes as well, just because they are small and kind of intricate, so it's really easy to add the liquid glue to the back of those to adhere them on. Now, if you wanted to add a little bit of extra dimension, you could put some foam adhesive in behind the snowflakes, but like I mentioned before, I'm going for quick and easy, so I'm trying to save as many steps as I can and still end up with a really pretty tag to adhere to a gift. So once I have that last snowflake on there, I'm going to go ahead and move over to my last tag, and this one is exactly the same as the first two. The only difference is the sentiment, which is going to be Merry Christmas stamped at the bottom of that scallop design. And then I'm going to take all of the pieces and assemble it the exact same. So I've added all of the tag parts together, and now I'm finishing it off with the blue sparkle snowflake right in the center there. So now we have 3 different tags. We created all of them using the same die set, but they have a little bit of a different design. I kind of prefer the 2 that the snowflake is in the top area, but I do like the different look that having the one hanging off kind of adds with that fun script sentiment. Now, since we have pattern paper on the inside of this tag, it is kind of hard to write on it, so if you don't want to write on the back of the tag, what I like to do is just take a piece of white cardstock and layer it inside the tag, trim off the excess pieces on the sides, and then when the tag is closed, you can't even tell it's there, and you still get that great pattern paper design on the bottom, but you get the area in the center that you can use to write on. So it's personal preference, whatever you prefer. I just like having both options. It does add a step to your tag, but it's a great way to add a sentiment on the inside. Now to finish these off, I'm just taking a little bit of white ribbon here. This is a very thin ribbon. I love this one for tags because it easily fits into the opening. And I like to just go in through the back with both ends and then pull it through itself to give it a little bit of a loop. And then I just tie it onto the gift, or I just adhere it on with some adhesive. So to finish up these tags, the last thing I want to do is add a little gem to the center of each of the snowflakes. I just thought we would add a little bit of dimension on here since they are relatively flat. So I took a gem that matched in color. So I have a turquoise color, a green, and the pink. And I'm just adding those to the center of the snowflakes. And once I have that done, our tags are complete. So these are really quick and easy ways to create some Christmas tags. And there are a lot of different ways that you can use them. If you have more time on your hands, you could add some stamped images to them. But I love the die set that it allows me to create these 3 different tag designs and have that really fun opening that allows you to kind of hide your message on the inside and decorate the outside. So I hope you got some ideas in today's video to create with our new Fold-up Tags Die-namics. I appreciate you being here, and all of the supplies I've used are listed in the video description below. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you in another video soon.